Hey y'all, I'm Saul and welcome to my randomized Nuzlock run of Pokemon Red. These are the rules I'll be following, and this is what is and isn't randomized. We begin by naming ourselves Saul and our rival Boric, and you'll notice we aren't given an option to choose our gender, as girls weren't allowed to play video games in the ancient 90s. After being told not to step on the grass because Oak is president of the HOA in Pallet Town, we pick our starter, and our choices are Lapras, an A-tier water-ice dinosaur that would make for an easy sweep of Brock, Giovanni, and even Lance, Eevee, which feels a little too let's go for my taste, and Arbok, a D-tier Pokemon who's weak against some of the most powerful trainers like Sabrina and Giovanni. So I pick Arbok and name it Eden, like the garden and my own pet snake. We quickly dispatch our rival's Eevee, trade in Oak's Amazon package for some Pokeballs, and attempt to fight a Gengar before bailing so we don't die. We discover an extinct species near Viridian City, but it re-extincts itself after an unfortunate reaction to a poisonous plant. North of Viridian, we find a bejeweled mountain lion, and name it Brrr. In the forest, it seems our rival's Eevee has escaped, so we try to seize the opportunity to steal it, but the game is very adamant about not allowing us to steal other trainers' Pokemon. And with that miscatch, we must now face Brock with only an Arbok and a Persian. Eden's Rap Strat is effective against Geodude, but it leaves us low on PP. I switch to Prrr to Scream at Onix to lower his superior defenses, and it gets a couple bites in before I have to switch back to Eden, who starts off strong by wasting a turn and a couple PP by missing the first Rap. We lock into Abide though, and just barely kill it with Poison Sting on the very turn it would have used Abide to obliterate us. We catch a fire salamander on the way to Mount Moon and name it Charcoal. Then we kill a monkey and praise our lord before catching yet another fire type in preparation for the upcoming Water Gym. We face a rival before Nugget Bridge and Eden almost dies again, but thankfully Rap Strat always comes through in the end. Forever I switch to Purr and forget that this is Gen 1, so what's a dark type, but then my mountain lion is nearly killed by a rat. So I have what would have traditionally been my starter punch his actual starter to death. After playing with a particle accelerator with Bill Nye, I grind excessively on modern and traditional yokai, so that I have at least a chance against Misty. In order to gain the immediate speed advantage, I paralyze Staryu, which is unnecessary as I one-shot it with Bite. I then paralyze the Star of David and begin the Rap Strat, thus concluding the battle. I may have overprepared for Misty. South of Cerulean, I find a tasty-looking duck named Mallard and some Eggs Benedict to go with him. This would have all paired well with this drowning rabbit I found, but Mallard killed it. Finding a Jinx in Diglett Cave is the funniest coincidence in this whole run. I named her Cardi C. After an uneventful murdering of our rival's Raticate, we give this old man a happy ending, and we're rewarded by cutting some lines. You know where else you can cut some lines and get some happy endings? The military! Lieutenant Surge drops a live grenade, but from watching videos on the internet, I know the best way to survive this situation is to duck into a hole in the ground. Eden, like most venomous snakes, then ambushes two rodents from its burrow, securing its dinner and our third gym badge. We then find the same plant that killed Kabuto earlier and remember it's poisonous, so we name it Vicky, cause it's icky. While stumbling through the darkness of Rock Tunnel, we rescue a clearly lost seahorse whose face reminds me of Pengu. We run away from the spooky town and catch a bird from a Seattle coffee shop, and then go face Erica. She has an icky Vicky of her own and even tries to steal our Rap Strat, but fails and becomes Charcoal's namesake. She once again tries to Rap Strat, this time using Tangela, which admittedly is better suited for the tactic, but Charcoal overcooks this spaghetti. Finally, Vileplume faces off against Mallard, who gets seasoned with pepper, salt, and nutmeg, before turning the tables and eating the overgrown radish. After another session of grinding, we are now ready to conduct a raid on Giovanni's underground casino, where I get distracted while spamming smokescreen and nearly get nuke killed by an angry mother. Eden comes in though to secure the victory, and we head back over to Spooksville, where a rival is mourning the loss of his Raticate. So, we rub salt in his wounds by sweeping his whole team, Fortnite dancing on its grave, and ghostbusting its soul. Next, we give a man a sick Nelly-inspired grill before competing against Koga to become the next Hokage. Mallard fights the coronavirus and gets reseasoned by Reverse Com, before defeating COVID-2, Toxic Boogaloo. Finally, Charcoal takes on Ebola, which, in trying to eradicate us, accidentally takes itself out by self-destructing a little too soon. In Act 2 of our Giovanni trilogy, we face him in Saffron City, where the Vicky plant continues its pattern of extinction and Cardi C even gets in on the toxicity. And now to face the actual strongest trainer in Gen 1 Kanto, Sabrina. Vicky puts Kadabra to sleep and kills it with just a couple attacks. Mallard then slaughters a clown before eating him off. I optimistically leave Mallard in to continue his murder spree, but Alakazam had other plans. With my delicious duck soup cradled in his spoons, I sent out Charcoal, who uses Mallard's signature slash to finish the battle. Don't worry though, because we find Mallard's ghost later in the old mansion. Newt surfs us not only to the 7th gym, but straight through it as we sweep Blaine's entire team. But back in Viridian City, Cardi C is unfortunately treated like a 50s housewife and is struck down by an angry little man. Vicky, with additional help from Newt, sweep Giovanni, and now we are ready to face the Elite Four. But first, our rival and I stop to compare birds, but having lost my prized duck, I get offended and drown his. Newt then drowns a rhino and a puppy, while Charcoal cooks some eggs. Smelling the food, the Spoon Demon returns, nearly killing Vicky and Charcoal. I have to sacrifice yet another bird to the spoons to give Newt an opening to drown Alakazam. And Flareon, being the worst of the evolutions, is easily picked off by the Tidal Wave as merely collateral damage. Pro tip: speedrun through Victory Road to the Indigo Plateau. Heal, then just use the entryway nearest to the Indigo Plateau to grind, so if you're ever in any danger, you can quickly exit and race to the Poké Center, and then race back to continue grinding in as little time as possible. At least that's what I did, because I wanted to save money for healing items for the Elite Four. After hours of grinding, selling all my useless items, stocking up on full restores, and making sure I have my PP increasing items, here's the team. Mehehe, the ghost of Mallard. Brrr, our second oldest companion that will do great as a potential sacrifice. Charcoal, this game's mascot and an excellent chef. Icky Vicky, the mass extinction plant of everything from Kabuto to Giovanni's rhinos. Newt, the landlocked lost seahorse who drowns more puppies than Cruella de Vil. And Eden, our starter and our oldest friend, and the one true master of the rap strat. First up is the Lady Lorelei. After Dugong shows me the Aurora Borealis, it takes a nap, giving Vicky enough time to suck in all that sun radiation and blast Dugong with it. Lorelei then shows off her clam, only to have it get Mega Drain. And Slowbro just shows us how special he is, for getting crit by a solar beam. Jinx unexpectedly does some serious damage to Charcoal with Ice Punch, but the type chart corrects itself and reminds Jinx that she's got the type disadvantage. Vicky miraculously tanks an Ice Beam from Lapras long enough to get off a solar beam. But I unfortunately have to sacrifice Prrr to the Loch Ness Monster to give Mehehe an opening to take out this way stronger opponent. If I didn't know any better, I'd swear Bruno is just Brock's dad. He even throws out the Onyx, which Newt disrespectfully one-shots with Water Gun. I specifically brought Mehehe for this fight since he's immune to fighting moves. I just wish he was higher level so Nightshade did more damage. But he learns how to devour souls, so never mind. Get this Gym 1 tier Rock Snake out of your Elite 4 level team, Machamp. More like, chomp on its dreams. Fuck out of here, Bruno. Take your ass back to Pewter and take care of your cheaper by the dozen ass family. Agatha's team really isn't a threat since Eden can just earthquake them all except for Golbat, which Charcoal just cooks. Lance, however, blasts Mehehe with a Super Soaker, so Eden goes in to paralyze Gyarados and barely survives a Hyper Beam. I heal during the recharge turn and begin the Rap Strat, which eventually defeats the Sea Serpent, but then another Serpent appears. Newt freezes the first Dragonair and does the second one dirty by killing it with a Water Gun. It then hits Aerodactyl with a Tsunami and ends Dragonite with the North American Freeze of 2021. Now, the only thing left standing between us and the championship is our rival. His bird is back, so Charcoal spit roasts him, only for the Spoon God to return and smite Charcoal in one shot. Newt survives long enough to show Alakazam a fun time at a water park before getting the Alderon treatment. And now it seems all hope is lost. Both Eden and Vicky are weak to Psychic. I repeatedly send out Vicky. I choose to use Sleep Powder, expecting to just get one shot. Here comes the Psychic, and Vicky tanks the Psychic with only 6 HP left. She puts his ass to sleep. She takes in the solar power of Ra and demonstrates the Carrington event of 1859 on Alakazam's slumbering corpse. She then continues her extinction of rhinos and uses them to sustain herself. From 6 HP all the way back to full health. Take those spoons and shove them up your ass, Alakazam. Eden then easily earthquakes Arcanine and Rap Strats Exeggutor to finally bring us face to face with the final standoff of our starters. From the humble beginnings of Oak's office to here in the Chamber of Champions, with a flash of light and an earth-shattering impact, it's over. Flareon falls, leaving Eden and Vicky as our final champions. We've won the Nuzlock. And now, for a moment of silence, in remembrance of our fallen heroes who helped carry us to victory. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time in Johto.